Sometimes the most painful stories are the ones no one ever tells, buried in silence, lost in the shadows. But here, we remember, we give voice to the forgotten, we walk into the darkness so the truth can be seen. This is Ru'ya, where hidden stories find light. 11 a.m., a railway maintenance worker was walking the tracks just outside Cairo. A normal shift, a quiet morning, until he spotted something near the rails. At first, it looked like a pile of old clothes. But as he got closer, he froze. It wasn't fabric, it was bone. The remains of a child, dry, fragile, forgotten. The worker called the police immediately. Hours later, 3 more bodies were found, all of them children, all of them near railway tracks. And just a few days later, the number rose to 12. 12 children. No names, no missing person reports, no one coming forward. It was as if these boys had disappeared without a trace, and no one noticed. Forensic doctors determined that all the victims were between 11 and 13 years old, and most had died after being struck by a moving train. But it wasn't an accident. The question was, who were these children, and why had no one reported them missing? Investigators suspected they were street children, the kind who sleep near train stations and live in the shadows of the city. So the search moved to the streets, to Cairo, Giza, Alexandria, where hundreds of invisible kids roam each night, scavenging, surviving, and eventually they found someone who knew something. A boy, thin, afraid, hesitant. His name, Ahmed Samir Abdel Rahim, but in the streets they called him Bu'aka. He looked down at the ground as he spoke. His voice was low, shaking, but only if you protect me. He said there was a man, someone powerful, someone feared. His name was Ramadan Abdel Rahim Mansour, but everyone knew him as El-Turbini. According to Ru'ya, this man wasn't alone. He had a gang. They roamed train stations searching for street kids, especially boys around 12. They would offer them kindness, a warm meal, a place to sleep, even promises of travel. But once the child trusted them, he was never seen again. Ru'ya described what happened in whispers. He said they would take everything, the child's money, freedom, hope. Some were led onto the roofs of trains, others were taken to abandoned wells, storage tanks, or worse, and most were never found. Then Ru'ya gave the police another name, Mohammed Abdelaziz, known as Suisi. He was arrested in Tanta, and he confessed. He had helped lure children, he was part of the gang, and like Ru'ya, he was afraid of what El-Turbini might do if he ever found out they had spoken. Now, the full story unfolds. So who was El-Turbini? His real name was Ramadan Abdel Rahim Mansour, born in 1980 in the city of Tanta. He grew up in poverty, moving from job to job. No guidance, no protection, only survival. At the age of 12, he found work at a small cafe inside a train station in El-Qahira. That's where everything changed. There, he met a man named Abdo El-Turbini, a cruel, violent figure who controlled others through fear. And one day, he turned on Ramadan. He assaulted him, then threw him from the roof of a moving train. Miraculously, Ramadan survived, but he was never the same. The injuries left him with broken bones, a permanent eye condition, and a kind of silence that burns inside. He told the police what happened, but Abde was never convicted. He died shortly after in a car accident. But something had already awakened in Ramadan. He took the man's name, the name of his abuser, and made it his own. He became a Turbini. From that moment, he swore he'd never be weak again. He started gathering street children, boys like him, alone, forgotten, vulnerable. He offered them food, work, a false sense of family. But it came with a price. They had to hand over every coin they earned, and they had to obey him completely. If any of them said no, they disappeared. At first, his gang claimed it was about control, but soon, something darker took hold. What began as punishment turned into ritual, then into pleasure, then into something even worse. In 2005, one boy managed to escape. He ran to the police and filed a report. El-Turbini was arrested, but once again, he was released. No evidence, no witnesses. No one realized they had just let Egypt's most dangerous predator walk free. And when El-Turbini found out who reported him, he wanted revenge. He ordered his gang to find the boy. And when they did, what happened next was unthinkable. They brought him back to El-Turbini, who made sure he never spoke again. And that was just one case. There were many others. boys who were never identified and whose remains were never recovered. The police eventually caught him again. This time there was no escape. Faced with the truth, El-Turbini confessed. He admitted to participating in the deaths of more than 30 children. Some had been thrown from trains, others left in hidden places, old wells, water tanks, underground tunnels, places no one would ever find. The trial was long, painful, but in the end, justice was served. El-Turbini, along with his gang, was sentenced to death. The case shook Egypt, it shocked the world, and it was later ranked as the 21st most horrifying serial crime globally. But no number, no headline can measure the pain left behind. Most of these children had no names, no graves, no one to cry for them. But here, we remember. We tell their story, so they are never, ever forgotten.